We're starting off today with a 9 by 12 inch canvas. I taped it down and then I got out my blue and a 1-inch flat paintbrush. I'm grabbing just a little bit of black to put around the edges, and then I'm going to work this black in a vertical brush stroke pattern across the whole canvas to kind of bring some darkness to the edges. I want the bat to appear to be flying at night, but I also don't want it so dark that the bat doesn't pop out from the background. Here I'm just grabbing a little bit of water to thin out some of the paint in the middle. I think this worked really nice to just lighten up that middle section so that the bat has a home to live in, and it just gives a little bit more contrast between the bat and the background. Now you're going to let this air dry for 10 to 15 minutes, or you can do what I'm doing and use a blow dryer. Now it's time to grab that 1/2 inch paintbrush, get a nice dark charcoal color going, and we're going to create the shape for the wings. I did 2 lines that go straight up and across. It's like a triangle point, and then it goes down around the edges. Now it's time to make a circle in the middle. This is going to be the bat's body. We are going to make sweeping motions like an upside down U, or maybe like thinking of the end of an umbrella with this charcoal paint, and we're going to fill everything in. This is just our base layer. We're just getting started, and we're going to just want to fill this in and do the exact same thing on the other side. I want you guys to take a second and just observe the left wing versus the right. So the left wing has a really good foundation, so please try to copy that on both sides of your bat. I actually made some mistakes on the right wing, and I had to go through and correct it. It still didn't turn out as good, and it wasn't as strong as the left side. It still looks great. But yeah, just try to copy that, that same pattern, that same style that I did on the left wing on the right side, and it'll look awesome. I'm also starting to make some rainbow shapes to define the different sections of the wings with a slightly darker black color. So we're going to define it more throughout this video, but I just want to suggest the shape and the movement of the bat. And just the different segments the wing has. So you can really see it really clear on the left side. So try to do something similar. Like I said, it's kind of this sweeping rainbow pattern. Now I'm grabbing my 1/4 inch paintbrush. It is also a flat paintbrush and burnt sienna with a little bit of white. This is going to go around the bat's body, so I'm just making small brush strokes to give this illusion or idea that the bat is furry, and then I'm also adding his feet at the bottom that are going to dangle below his body. We're now going to grab some white and use the sharp edge of our paintbrush to create some lines for the bat's wings. So we're going to do a big arching sweeping motion and then 2 lines that go down. And in between those, we will also add some highlights and lowlights as well. Now it's time to grab some black, and I'm going to put those those black brush strokes in an upward pattern next to the white lines, and then I'm going to grab a little white and put it in the middle and blend it all together so it creates more of this sweeping motion that the bat's wing has a little bit of depth. So we're going to do that between each segment, so between each area that has the white line. So it's okay if those white lines get covered up again. They're really more so a suggestion point for where you need to add those shadows and highlights. And then we'll go through later and, make sure there's a nice crisp line at the end. Time to grab some white, and we're using the same paintbrush, and we're going to lay down the foundation for the face. If you put a center line in the middle of that bat, we're going to be putting the eyes just above that center line, so 2 big round circles for that. And here you can see my son showing me his Minecraft bee. Next, I grabbed some burnt sienna, and I'm just going to lay down the foundation for the nose. Burnt sienna and white, so it's going to be a very light cream color, which will be a good foundational color to start with. The nose is going to be rather square with 2 kind of circular sides on each side for the nostrils. This next part is the bat's cheek, which I'm just putting in white so that so I know like the different sections and segments of the painting, so I can see it visually from the nose versus the eyes versus the cheeks. I'm also adding just a little cream to his feet. This top half circle is going to be the bat's forehead. I'm grabbing just a little bit more burnt sienna to put around the body, just another layer. Once again, I'm doing really short brush strokes, and I'm doing kind of the side to side wiggle motion with my paintbrush to give the bat a little bit of texture, to give the idea that he's fuzzy and warm. I'll also be adding just a little burnt sienna and black to the forehead to darken it up and have it pop and have a little contrast between the forehead and the background or his body. Once again, let this air dry or use your blow dryer. Make sure everything is nice and dry at this point. I'll be doing another layer of black around the wings, and this is the part where I'm going to fix the wing and have it look a little bit more like the left side. So if you followed the instructions the first time and your wings look good, you can go forward from this, but this is just kind of me, like, once again, just rearranging a few of the shadows in the wing to make them match a little bit better. Now let's mix the red, blue, and a little white to make a nice lavender color for the bat's eyes. Once you get a nice purple color, a nice lavender, we're going to do 2 circles right in the middle of the white circles. I'm adding a little yellow to the palette to add to the purple, and this should make a brown color. You could also just use brown if that's easier. Now I'm just applying that brown to the bat's cheeks. And I'm also adding it to the forehead, and now I picked up a little burnt sienna. I just want like a slight red hue to the cheeks as well. Now I'm just mixing some red and white to add some pink to the top of the bat's cheeks. I'm now going over the nose or snout area with some brown just one more time to create some shadows. I'm also adding a little burnt sienna to the middle of the snout area. It's time to do a little work to those eyes. So get a nice charcoal color and etch out the eyelids on both the top and the bottom by just using a nice curved shape with a 1/4 inch flat paintbrush. As you can see, I'm just doing 2 separate lines, one on the top and one on the bottom. Now I am taking some black paint to do the middle of the eye, the pupil. I'm going to use the remainder of the black paint on my brush to just create a few shadow lines around the snout. Let's not forget about those pointy ears, so grab the black and make 2 antenna shapes off the side of the head, and then bring it down so it makes a triangle. On the inside, I'm going to fill that with the lavender to tie in the color of the eyes. Grab a little burnt sienna and put another layer on those little tootsies. Let's make sure this layer is good and dry. Let's darken up some of this burnt sienna with the brown we made to put another layer on the ears. Let's do a little bit more pink on the cheeks now. Now I've lightened some burnt sienna with white to make a nice cream color, and I'm going to do this all around the bat's body. I'm making very short brush strokes with my 1/4 inch paintbrush to help it give a fuzzy kind of fur-like texture. So just a lot of little brush strokes using the flat edge of your paintbrush to go side to side a little bit. Now it's time for the fun part where we take our fine paintbrush or a Sharpie and we add all the details. So with my black paintbrush, I am adding an outline to the iris of the eye. I'm also going to draw a bunch of little, or paint a bunch of small black lines going out from the pupil to the edge of the iris on both eyes. Now I accidentally stopped recording for this next part for a moment, but I outlined the lid and the top of the lid of the eye of the bat. And then I also made eyelashes, which you can see now, all around the bat's eye. Now we're going to go ahead and outline the ears with black. And I'm also going to make a lot of little tiny lines where the outside of the body would be to help represent the fact that there's fur. And here I'm just outlining the snout. Go ahead and outline that. And I'm also making 2 lines to represent the nostrils of the bat. Here I am outlining the feet. I'm going to do 3 lines to represent some toes at the bottom of those feet. And now get your paintbrush really clean, because we're also going to go in with some highlights with our white paint. So these are actually the first marks I'm making are going to be the teeth. So I'm making 2 very small triangles in the middle of the snout area below the nostrils that we made. And now I'm going to go forward and I'm going to outline the wings of the bat where the lightest color is, so around the edges, and those 2 lines that go down the middle of the bat wing. Here I'm just going to add some accents with my white paint that go with the same pattern that we were using before to make shadows and highlights. One of my favorite parts of the eyes is adding the highlights in the eyes, so I'm going to do 2 circles and then 2 U shapes on each side of the eye. Just make sure both eyes kind of look the same. And I'm also going to do some white eyelashes just to kind of help that eye area pop. I'm also outlining the ears to help the ears pop away from the background. Now I'm going to use my black paint to do some outlining on the wing, especially that under part where those big U shapes are coming down and around and they're coming to a point. I want that part to be really pointy. It will really help the bat look really cool. This part turned out so cute. I'm going to do the mouth, but I'm going to make the mouth kind of like 2 U shapes that go, so it almost looks like a W, a shallow W, and it's going to be right above where I made the teeth marks. And here I'm just fixing part of the nose with black. Now guys, it's time to add your signature and peel off the paint for the final reveal of your painting. If you loved how yours turned out, please share it on Instagram and either tag me or use the hashtag Jessica Darling Studio so that I can see your beautiful creation there. Okay, bye for now.